Okay, so my presentation is on the power of attitude and how that can positively or negatively affect someone's life. So starting out a little bit, for my project, I originally was going to be doing volunteer work at the Outreach Therapeutic Riding Center in Goffstown, and that actually ended up not working out. So even to start my project, I had to kind of reevaluate that really quickly and decide where I wanted to go from there. So my first thing I wanted to ask and talk about is, what is an attitude? And for me, someone's attitude defines who they are. If you're naturally a more, up and positive person, then you know that about yourself. And if you're more of someone who kind of gets more involved with situations, that can also affect yourself and your attitude. And people recognize your attitude. If you know someone is a more positive person, you're going to want to go towards them when you're having a bad day or something like that, versus kind of edge away from someone who's always bringing their problems to you and things like that. I believe that this also connects into someone's lifestyle. It creates opportunities for them or takes opportunities away from them. And today I'd really just like to talk with you about how my own mental attitude affected me throughout my project and why everyone should really strive to just kind of stay positive. Okay, so how I started out thinking about my project, like I mentioned earlier, was originally planning on doing something completely different than I ended up doing. And hitting that roadblock so early in my project was a real test for me to try and overcome that and work through that and really just figure out what I'm doing. I felt kind of overloaded with everything, and really trying to just stay ahead of and on top of things was a big part for me. So for my project, I ended up going with my local church based in Nashua to Maine to rebuild a farmhouse, which was actually really cool for me because I could still connect it to the horses part of my project and the therapeutic riding part that I'm going to be talking about later that I actually did my research on still. Alright, here's a picture of me working. So the house we worked on was an old farmhouse. There was a single woman living there. She's probably in her 50s, and the house had just gotten away from her. She'd been recently divorced. She was living all on her own. She had no kids that were close to her. They all kind of just went off on their own way. And so our job was, we were there from Monday to Friday. Our job was to scrape the entire house, prime the entire house, paint the entire house, do siding, like in the picture, and start on tile roofing. So this is just a picture of my crew and I. We were all about the same age, and let's see, yeah, there were 7 of us to do the entire house. I didn't get a huge picture of like the actual house, but you think of old farmhouses, it was really, really big. So I just have a couple pictures of what it looked like. This is the side of it. You can see all the paint's coming off. It's not really looking that great, and the corner in the back was all molded out. We had to actually replace part of the deck as well. And that's what the front of the house looked like. And there's the same picture. So that one shows a little bit better, just the condition of the house that we got there. All the windows were covered, there were boards everywhere, it just wasn't taken care of. So we got there on Monday, and around Tuesday or Wednesday, I really started to enjoy what I was doing. I got to see how the resident was really receptive to us, and she would join us for like our group studies and things like that. She'd always come out for lunch, offer us water, food, anything we needed. When we got there, she was very shy, very reserved, very anxious about having 7 strange kids there working on her house, I think, as anyone would be. I really felt honored to be able to help her, and I know that everyone else in my crew started to feel the same way. We all really went out of our way to just try and make things as positive for her as possible. There's another picture of the house starting to get primed. This was, let's see, we scraped the entire house in one day, so this would be Tuesday. It took us 3 days to prime. So, some more pictures. So the red is the new coat going back over. and the front of the house looking a whole lot better. This was one of 2 sides that we managed to finish. There was a crew coming in the week after us who was there to finish all the siding and the painting and things like that. So that's the map that I showed you the original picture of. So how did this project change my mental attitude? I feel really thankful for the opportunity to help the resident in the house. It really showed me how much what I think of something reflects what I get out of it. I think that that's a big thing for anything that you're really working on. Drew was here earlier and he talked about sports and how mentally you are more engaged and are enjoying yourself more. I will remember this experience in the years to come, and I'm really hoping that other kids I can encourage to go and try it. I really started to enjoy it and get to know my crew, and I thought that it was an awesome learning experience for me to get to know myself better. So as I mentioned earlier, the second part of my project was originally going to be volunteering at a therapeutic riding center, but since that didn't work out, I chose to keep my research based on that because I had personal experience with it, and it was something that I enjoyed and that I felt was really important. So 2 years ago, I started working or volunteering at a breech riding center. I worked with a little girl named Maya. She was 6. She had a severe speech language hearing delay, and she could barely walk when I first started working with her. She now is running around, jumping on the horse. She's more than happy to start riding. She's been able to grow so much in her riding to not need any assistance whatsoever. She's talking full sentences. She always runs up to me, "Hi Emily, how are you?" And it's just been really awesome to see that part from my end, but to see her also grow as a child and feeling more confident. So how does the positivity that they feel in riding transfer over to the classroom? In part of my research, I found a study done by Brown University, and it really looked at how it benefits kids. And most of the kids who do riding are in a wheelchair, so they're constantly looking up at people or being looked down on. And that really takes a toll on their self-confidence and what they feel like they can do. So when they're up on a horse and they're looking down at you and they're saying to themselves, "Wow, I'm doing this," the attentive levels in the classroom and their kids' scores in the educational testing that they were doing to help get placed with their aides and things like that shot up through the roof. Continuously, exponentially, the longer they stayed riding, the better it was for them. So just to kind of wrap it all up, I really got out of this project how important it is to, no matter the situation, keep a positive outlook, and I'm hoping to be able to continue volunteering and sharing that with other people. So that's it.